Diaoyu Islands and their affiliated islets are an inherent part of China's territory. The patrol and law enforcement activities conducted by Chinese Coastguard vessels within China's territorial waters are entirely legitimate and justified. China rejects Japan's unreasonable representations, which were immediately rebuffed on the spot, and has lodged counter-representations. China demands that Japan strictly abide by the four-point consensus between China and Japan, respect China's territorial sovereignty, refrain from interfering with the patrols and law enforcement activities of Chinese Coast Guard vessels, and refrain from any actions that may escalate the situation. The Chinese government has consistently and will continue to protect the safety of foreign nationals in China in accordance with the law. This morning, Liu Jinsong, Director General of the Department of Asian Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, held consultations in Beijing with Masaoka Kanai, Director General of the Bureau of Asian and Oceanian Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan. During the talks, China once again lodged solemn representations with Japan over Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's erroneous remarks concerning China. It was pointed out that Ms. Takaichi's fallacious assertions gravely violate international law and the basic norms of international relations, severely undermine the post-war international order, and flagrantly contravene the One China principle and the spirit of the four Sino-Japanese political documents. Such remarks fundamentally damage the political foundation of Sino-Japanese relations, are of an extremely pernicious nature and impact, and have aroused the indignation and condemnation of the Chinese people. China has earnestly urged Japan to retract the erroneous remarks, cease creating incidents related to China, demonstrate through concrete actions its acknowledgement of the error and correction of missteps, and uphold the political foundation of China-Japan relations. The remarks made by the US ambassador are purely a politically motivated spectacle with ulterior motives, contrary to the status and duties of a diplomat. The US-Japan alliance is a product of the Cold War era and should not be directed against third parties, much less arbitrarily interfere in other countries' internal affairs or undermine their core interests. The Potsdam Proclamation explicitly prohibited Japan from rearming, and Japan's peace constitution enshrines the principle of exclusively defensive defense. Yet it is alarming that in recent years, Japan has significantly adjusted its security policy, progressively increased its defense budget, relaxed restrictions on arms exports, sought to develop offensive weapons, and plotted to abandon its three non-nuclear principles. Right-wing forces in Japan are striving to break free from the constraints of the peace constitution, venturing ever further down the path of military expansion and armament. 80 years ago, Japanese militarism launched wars of aggression, inflicting profound calamities upon Asia and the world. To forget war is to invite peril. To embrace war is to court destruction. The lessons of history must not be forgotten, distorted, or erased. 80 years on, we shall never permit the revival of Japanese militarism, never tolerate any challenge to the post-war international order, and never allow the peace and stability of the world to be undermined again. The Japanese side should earnestly comply with the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations and the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, and facilitate the normal performance of duties by Chinese embassies and consulates in Japan. China supports the Security Council in taking all necessary actions to promote a lasting ceasefire, alleviate the humanitarian catastrophe, and initiate post-war reconstruction. The U.S. draft resolution remains ambiguous on key aspects of post-war arrangements for Gaza and fails to adequately reflect important principles such as Palestinians governing Palestine and the two-state solution. This diverges from China's consistent position, hence China did not vote in favor. Firstly, this is an internal matter for Bangladesh. She stated that China has always pursued a policy of good neighborliness and friendship towards all the people of Bangladesh, and sincerely hopes that Bangladesh will achieve unity, stability, and development. I want to emphasize that the East Turkestan Islamic Movement is a terrorist organization designated by China in accordance with its laws and listed by the United Nations Security Council. Combating the East Turkestan Islamic Movement is a core concern of China's counterterrorism efforts. The Syrian side has pledged not to permit any entity to utilize Syrian territory for activities that undermine China's security, sovereignty, and interests. China and Syria have agreed to strengthen coordination and cooperation in counter-terrorism and security matters to combat terrorism in all its forms.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.